Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Grey's Anatomy, Season 3, Episode 13, Wishin' and Hopin'. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happens in the episode. So, as always, we'll start with the patients. So, the first patient is the first patient that the free clinic that Bailey and Izzy opened has, and it is a father who brings in his daughter who has recently started her period in order to ask the free clinic staff if they can help her to learn how to use the products as his wife has passed, and so there is no one in the household to really teach her or give her guidance. Izzy doesn't really appreciate that because it was her $8 million that funded the clinic, so she ends up leaving and Bailey takes over. When Bailey takes over, the girl reveals that she's actually already been physically intimate with a boy who ended up only being after, basically, once she put out, he left, and so Bailey and her have a moment, and Bailey gives her a speech, um, and hopes that that will help to bring the father and daughter closer together as she gives the speech to both of them, essentially. Then the second patient takes up a vast majority of the episode, which is a patient comes in and she's in cancer treatments, and then she was trying an herbal remedy in addition to her regular treatments, which ended up causing, like, basically mixing with the chemicals in her blood from the cancer treatments, creating her, like, turning her blood into a neurotoxin, which ends up affecting all of the staff as though they had been exposed to, like, radiation or, well, again, it's a neurotoxin, so they get the shakes, they get sweats, they get nausea, they get all the symptoms, and it ends up being a bit of a relay race in order to have the patient handled, because when they first go in to the surgery, everyone passes out. Then they basically have Derek and Burke go in specialized sealed suits with its own oxygen source, and they do the surgery. However, at the end of the surgery, they run out of air before they can close up. So then Meredith, Izzy, and Christina have to do the relay race to basically close the patient, which they do succeed in. And then finally, we have Ellis, who has a lucid day. So Meredith is called into the home in order to tell her that basically the reason she doesn't remember the last 5 years is because she has Alzheimer's. And they have that lucid day, but when Ellis finds out about the Alzheimer's, it does lead to her having a heart concern, so she ends up in the hospital. And throughout the episode, she does end up with heart complications, and Meredith signs off on a surgery after avoiding her for most of the day because Ellis does think that Meredith is a disappointment. However, then once that once she gets through the day, Meredith then comes in to, try to have a moment with her mother. Unfortunately, she is too late because Ellis has once again forgotten her at that point. And then we have our dramas for the episode, which Callie and George, after the end of the last episode where George proposed, went on vacation to Vegas, got married in Vegas, and then they come back in a nice bubble until everybody finds out, and then George doesn't stand up for her, and when he gets the toxic poisoning because he thinks it's similar to an anxiety attack, he associates that to their marriage, which of course worries Callie. However, by the end of the episode, George does finally stand up for Callie to his friends, so Meredith, Izzy, and Christina, which ends up with them basically repairing the damage that the rest of the day had caused. And then we also get Christina saying yes to marrying Burke. And the rest of the drama is mostly, again, Ellis and Meredith's time. And that is what happened in this episode. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, we'll now rank the episode. As always, we'll be ranking on the mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. So starting off, we have 1 point each for our supporting character introductions, and those are our two patients, Kelly Hansen, which is the um, daughter brought in with her period, and then the second episode, or second patient of the episode with the toxic blood was Marina Rose Wagner. Then we have 2 points for the supporting relationship development, which of course is that George and Callie got married off screen in Vegas and are returning this episode to tell everybody. Then we have worth 3 points, the multi-season supporting character development, which is Ellis being lucid for the day and then ending up in the hospital due to health complications relating to her Alzheimer's and her heart. Then we have our multi-season main character development, and this is Callie's middle name being revealed as Ephigenia, which um, I've never heard of that name before, so it is very unique. Or it could not be unique in some cultures, but I just, like I said, have never heard of it before, so it sounds unique to me. And then we have 4 points for the world building piece, which is the Memorial Clinic opening for the first time, and of course it was built off screen between the last episode and this one. Then we have the main relationship development, which is where Christina says yes to marrying Burke, but says that she's not going to wear the ring because she is a surgeon as well. And that, to me at least, makes sense because she'd have to take them off every time she goes for surgery anyways. So she says that she doesn't wear rings, but that she will marry him, which of course they end the episode very happily. Then we have our final +4, which is a strong plot concept, and I don't use this frequently, but in this case, I did think the concept of a patient's blood turning toxic due to a mixture of an herbal remedy and the chemotherapy chemicals was really unique and really interesting and compelling and memorable, and again, strong plot concept. So I did give 4 points for that. And then we have the negatives, and the first negative is that most of this episode, basically the entire middle of the episode, George and Callie started to have doubts within their marriage. They were fighting about it a little bit, about how George, doesn't stand up for her to his friends who were not supportive of the marriage upon hearing about it, and how George mistook his toxicity poisoning for an anxiety attack relating to their marriage. So I took 2 points for that, and then there was also -3 points for the main relationship progression or breakup, and that is because Richard confirms that, again off screen from like where the last episode he had the door slammed in his face to this episode, him and Adele have agreed that they are now getting a divorce, and are beginning those divorce proceedings, though at this point he is still planning to retire. And with all of those points together, it is still above 10 even with the negatives, and so this is a 10 out of 10 episode. On the mostly objective ranking list, when more than one episode has the same score, we just rank it in episode order. So our mostly objective ranking so far has in first Where the Boys Are, Don't Stand So Close to Me, Great Expectations. This episode comes in fourth, Wishing and Hoping, followed by Let the Angels Commit, I Am a Tree, Time Has Come Today, Oh, the Guilt, Staring at the Sun, From a Whisper to a Scream, 6 Days, What I Am, and Sometimes a Fantasy is in last place. Bringing us now to the personal ranking. And I also gave this episode a 10 out of 10. As I mentioned, I really, really thought that the toxic blood storyline was a very strong concept. I thought the daughter and father, though they didn't get a lot of screen time, I thought that that was also somewhat of a meaningful plot as well. A different type of meaningful. Then we had Ellis getting a day of being lucid and being able to have that drama with Meredith and have them interact and that drama that surrounds that. We had a marriage, we had an engagement. So a lot happened. And the only thing that I could say when I was watching that I felt was a little bit on the negative side that didn't really get resolved in the episode is because Izzy funded the free clinic with her $8 million. She was very gung-ho about the clinic and very disappointed that on opening day they didn't have like a rush or flood of patients. And the one patient that they did get, she basically kind of blew off and she had a real negative attitude while showing her how to use the feminine hygiene products. Um, and then after that, kind of just gave up on the clinic and went to look at the surgeries and be in the gallery so she could at least learn something, is her words. Um, which I felt was a really bad attitude for it, especially when that one patient ended up being so meaningful. And even at the end of the episode, Bailey tells her that they only had one patient, but it was $8 million worth of one, which is something that Izzy didn't come to, which is surprising to me because Izzy is usually the one who is very emotionally attached and very empathetic. So I was really surprised that she didn't react with empathy to this patient. You know, a girl who lost her mother, father brings, clearly doesn't know what he's doing, brings her in, and instead of, like being empathetic towards that scenario, she instead is incredibly rude and then just kind of blows it off and goes to the surgery instead to perform the relay race with Christina and Meredith. But I did feel like because that was really the only thing that I didn't like about the episode and everything else was really engaging, entertaining, and dramatic and interesting and again strong plot concept, etc., I did give this a 10 as well. And I actually put it in first place so far in the series. Wishin' and Hopin', and then that's followed by Great Expectations, Don't Stand So Close to Me, 6 Days, Where the Boys Are, From a Whisper to a Scream, Staring at the Sun, Let the Angels Commit, I Am a Tree, What I Am, Sometimes a Fantasy, Time Has Come Today, and Oh, the Guilt is in Last Place. Bringing us now to the series ranking so far. On the mostly objective side, we had Season 1 in first with 77.78%, Season 2 second, 76.67%, and Season 3 so far has 81 out of a possible 230. Meanwhile, on our personal ranking side, we had Season 2 in first at 72.22%, Season 1 second at 66.67%, and Season 3 so far is going strong at 102 out of a possible 230. But with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Grey's Anatomy Season 3, Episode 13, Wishin' and Hopin'. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.